I'm Winter Tashlin, and this is a Porsche Taycan GTS Sport Turismo. Sport Turismo because it's the wagon. Before we get into any of the details about what it's like to drive or what it's like to live with for a bit, just look at it. You know what? I'm gonna step off camera for a moment so that you can just soak it in, because I think this is one of the most beautiful cars on the road today. I mean, wow. If I say that Porsche's a bit lighter, a lot sharper, somewhat less luxurious variant of its Taycan premium sedan is an absolute performance monster, some of you in the comments will surely say that the Tesla Model S Plaid stomps it at a drag strip. If I say that for a lot less money than this car will cost you, you could get half again as much range out of a Tesla Model S long range, I'll get accused of being a Tesla fanboy. And if I say that the Taycan set the bar for DC quick charging, some of you will say that I have it out for the Lucid Air, which I don't. If inevitably someone is going to be upset by what I have to say, I'm just going to say it. This car is brilliant. I mean, it's incredible. Porsche offers a whole range of Taycans now, starting from about $87,000 and going up 100,000 more than that to get up to the top of the line Turbo S. And yes, the Turbo S doesn't have a turbo. It's a naming convention, not a statement about what the engine is. And the GTS, it's a bit of an odd fit. It's got the battery out of the Turbo S. It actually has the motor out of the Turbo S, or motors as the case may be, though not the inverter. So while it has the same battery and the same motors, its max output is actually a good bit less. What sets this car apart is that the chassis tuning is very different. This car has a whole different tune to its handling compared to the other Taycan models. Let's get in the car, let's drive for a while, and I'll check back in again. The car is communicative. You very much have a feel of where you are on the road, which is interesting for a car with electric steering. There isn't a sense of speed, and that can get you in trouble a little bit. It's easy to not notice just how quickly you're going, even with the heads-up display and the display right in front of me. I don't know if I'd say that it's playful. It's focused, it's sharp. It does what I want it to. But I don't know that I expect playfulness from Porsche. That's just not their thing. And if you come into this looking for a Porsche experience, I think it very much delivers on that. That's not a shock. The Taycan has been a brilliant car for some time. But this one, it just takes it up a notch in terms of what the feel behind the wheel is. Some people feel this car is slow. Its 0 to 60 is 3.5 seconds. The Turbo S shaves, I think, close to a second off the 0 to 60 time. But it is intended to be quickest around a track. This car is designed to carry more speed into a corner, recover speed faster, and I have to say, going into these corners, it is incredible the speed you can carry through a corner in this car. It's so flat, it's so stable, it has so much grip, and it inspires confidence. In fact, I think this is a car that you could really get in trouble with for that reason. It feels so good, and it is so good that it makes you want to push it. And it's a lot of fun to push. It's a car that rewards a bit of daring. It's a car that wants to go fast. Even though its straight line performance isn't the best of its siblings, it's a car that wants to go fast. There's an adage that it's more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. And I completely get that. At the same time, there is something to be said for driving a fast car fast. And this car in the corners is just so rewarding. The bolstering in the seats is excellent. It's quiet in here. We're on Angles Crest, and just everyone is so loud driving by, you know, with their V8s and their turbocharged 6s and their sport bikes. And this car, you can do it in silence if you want. Now, is it the quietest cabin in history? No, it's not a Mercedes-Benz S-Class. And that's not really what you look for it to be. And this is a pre-production model, so it's got some squeaks and a bit of rattle to it that we've been told will not be in the production variant, and to be honest, I believe them about that. But still, you're in this sort of cocoon of peace while outside the car is just doing bonkers stuff on this road. And that's a marvelous combination. If you want some noise and you want some excitement, Porsche does have a really brilliant artificial sound emulation, which is based on the sound the motors make, but it is just a track being played, pegged to motor RPM. But I'm an EV guy. I like the quiet. I like that it's silent in here. That makes me happy. One of the things that I'm finding a real challenge is that the car I drive fast most often is the Tesla Model 3. And the Tesla Model 3 has aggressive liftoff regen. This car has no liftoff regen. It has regen. If I begin to apply the brake, I'm slowing down pretty aggressively, entirely with regenerative braking. The gauge will let you know when you've sort of exceeded regenerative braking and you're into friction braking, but it's really a very seamless experience. And it's a very, very good regenerative braking system. It's a very good brake pedal, but I'm not used to brake pedals. So I keep lifting off the throttle going in to corners when maybe I should be giving it a little bit of brake. And I just don't think to because I'm used to the liftoff regen. Porsche has been very clear that this car is not going to get one-pedal driving, and I honestly think that's a shame. I would like this car to have one-pedal driving. I think this car would be a lot of fun for experienced EV people with one-pedal driving. Does it ruin the experience not having it? No, not at all. So one thing I think we should talk about is, what is the role of this car? We talk all the time about the importance of more affordable EVs, and this isn't. I mean, this is an enormous amount of money in a package that's actually reasonably practical. I would cheerfully buy this Wagon without some of the things that makes this car so special, simply because I think a Wagon EV is a really nice thing. I've talked about the fact that I think we should have the Aura Cat in America. The entry point for a Tesla Model 3 is high for a lot of people on the car market. And this is, if not a halo car, it's certainly close. I mean, this is a 6 1/3 figure sedan. It's magnificent and I love it. But is it important? And that's something that comes up a lot in the comments on our videos. Who cares about some incredibly fast, powerful EV that the overwhelming majority of people can't buy? What's the point? And I think there's a couple of points to it. One, making this car do what this car does, making a car that weighs what this weighs go around these corners so well, and doing it quickly, that's all really impressive engineering that I think we can expect to see trickle down into more mainstream cars. I talked about that with the Lucid Air as well. High-end vehicles tech trickles down into lower-end vehicles. And the problem is that anytime we talk about anything trickling down, it's never the most reliable way to innovate or ensure things get done. I think there's a lot to be said for what it shows. This car shows that an EV can be sharp and brilliant and handle magnificently, even though we haven't found a way to make EVs light yet. So I think as energy densities improve, that'll get better. Imagine what this car could do if it weighed what a 911 weighs. There have been a couple of months where Taycan sales were 20% of Porsche's sales. That's pretty impressive. And I do think there is a place for giving people a car to dream about. I know that sounds, I don't know, maybe really hackneyed, but there's something to be said for the car that goes on your bedroom wall. And this might be the first EV that I've looked at and said, I can imagine being a 13-year-old boy again and wanting that car on my bedroom wall. Because it's gorgeous, and it's fast, and it's sharp, and it's fun, and it's a car that you could dream about. I think there's a place for that, and I think it's exciting to have that with an electric vehicle. That's still new. It's easy to get into our electric vehicle bubble and forget for how many people electric cars are still very novel, and for whom an electric car is still, in their minds, nothing more than a glorified golf cart. And if this is a golf cart, I should take up golf. So I'm at another stopping point, and I want to talk for a sec about the purpose of this video. You see, every time we do one of these, people in the comment section refer to it as a review. So I want to just remind everybody, this video is not a review. Hopefully we'll get a Taycan GTS at some point that we can do a review on, but that's not what this is. This is a first drive, and I'm really only talking about my driving impressions. I could say that the rear hatch area is actually really nice, because it is, but the purpose of this video is to talk about what the Porsche Taycan GTS is like to drive, and what it's like to drive from a first impression. I have about 186 miles with this car today, and that's a fun day. That's a lot of time to get to spend with a really, really cool car. It is not enough time for me to tell you what I think of this car overall. It's enough time to form some impressions. So that's what this is about. And I can say, now that I've driven on a bit farther, my impressions continue to be really good. I like this car. It is not a small car, as you can see. It is a full-size sport wagon. And I have to say, I know people have been very snarky about the GTS Sport Turismo. I saw someone in a forum said, oh, it's the car made for automotive journalists because they're the ones who give a crap about sport wagons. What can I say? I'm an automotive journalist and I love sport wagons. I love that this thing is a wagon. It is actually nice, useful space, and the rear seat gets 3.6 inches more headroom in the Sport Turismo or in the other Taycans in a Cross Turismo variant than you get out of the sedan body. And that is also a really nice thing to have. I kind of wish it had lift-off regen, one-pedal driving. I still like a smaller car. This is a bit on the big side. If you handed me the keys to one, I'd take it in a heartbeat. The 360 view for backing up and also slow speed maneuvering on this car is absolutely brilliant. It's fantastic. It's sharp as hell. It gives a magnificent view, and you have proximity sensors as well. Really, really, really nice. It is hard not to smile driving this road in this car. It is just, it's something else. Makes you feel like a better driver than you are, that's for sure. If we're talking about driving, I suppose people might want me to talk about range. And here's the thing, I'm thrashing this car up a mountain road. Range isn't going to be great. I certainly have talked to people who routinely get 300 miles out of their Taycans. Porsche has very much rated these things based on a worst case scenario. And I have to say, I'm pushing this car hard and I'm not heating up the battery or motor really much at all, which is very impressive. It's not necessarily a driving dynamic thing, but this car has an electrically dimmable panoramic roof. And I currently have it set to the dimmed setting, I believe. And it is really fun. It's just so neat. I mean, it's a little gimmicky. A sunshade would have been fine for me, but it is really, really neat. You can not only electrically dim it or brighten it, you can dim it in zones. And that is just a ton of fun. It's just nifty. Silly thing, but if you're gonna have a car with a lot of tech, you may as well have a car with some really nifty tech. All GTS Sport Turismos in America will have the glass roof, but the electrically controlled roof dimming is an optional thing. Yeah, that sports sound is a little fun. It is a car that lets you know when you're getting close to the limits. I can feel not losing grip, but you can feel a little bit of movement in the chassis that tells you like, hey, you're getting a little close to the edge. And I like that. I like how communicative this car is. It's one of the criticisms that you hear of EVs, and generally cars with electric steering, is that they're not terribly communicative, and I don't feel that way in this car at all. I really feel like I have a great sense of the road. So at $135,000-ish, this car really, price-wise, cross-shops against, for instance, a Tesla Model S Plaid, which comes in a little bit less without the performance brake package, but for what people are saying, it looks like you really do kind of need the performance brake package. So in that case, who buys this car versus a Tesla Model S Plaid, and who prefers a Model S Plaid? And I think that really comes down to a philosophical difference that's existed in the auto industry for probably close to 100 years. when it comes to Europeans and Americans. The Tesla Model S is a brilliant car on a drag strip. It is designed to be a rocket ship, 0 to 60 in mind-bending speed. This car takes a second and a half longer to go from 0 to 60 compared to the Model S Plaid. That's a lot when you're talking about the difference between 2 and 3.5 seconds. But this car was not designed for the drag strip. If you want a Taycan that goes as fast as a Taycan can go, you want a Taycan Turbo S, and you still won't have a car that goes as fast as a Tesla Model S Plaid does. What this car is designed to do is go quickly around a racetrack or around a mountain road. This car is designed for the corners. It's designed first and foremost as a handling vehicle, then a speed vehicle. And don't get me wrong, 3.5 seconds is not shabby. This car feels plenty quick. I don't think I can say this car is better than a Model S Plaid or a Model S Plaid is better than this car. I do honestly think that they fill two very different niches. Some people want to go as fast as humanly possible. Some people want that face-melting acceleration, want to be able to take their family sedan to the drag strip and just smack the hell out of anyone else who shows up. And that's really cool. Other people want to be able to take a corner way in excess of its rated speed and have a car that just holds its line in an absolutely uncompromising way. That's a different use case. If you want a track day car, I think you want this. I don't think a Model S Plaid is really a track day car. If you want a drag strip car, you want the Model S. And I know what people are going to say. People are going to say that I'm making excuses for the Porsche because it's not as fast as the Model S Plaid, and I want to stroke Porsche's ego, or because it's the car I'm currently driving, so I want to believe that it's better than it is. And to that I say, am I saying you should go out and buy a Taycan GTS Sport Turismo? No, because I don't know you and I don't know what your budget is or your needs are. I'm telling you that if money was no object, I'd have one in my driveway. And I don't say that about every car that I drive. I love it. And I think that if you're looking to spend this kind of money, you absolutely owe it to yourself to drive this car and see what you think. And maybe you drive this car and you say, well, lower end Taycan is for me. Maybe you drive this car and say, I want something that feels more luxurious, and you buy an EQS. Maybe you say, you know what, I want more range, and you look at a Tesla Model S long range or a Lucid Air. Maybe you say, I want blistering straight line performance, and you buy a Model S Plaid. But I think you have to give this car a look. And to be honest, even if you can't afford to buy one of these, if you get a chance, I think you owe it to yourself to drive it. It is such an experience, and it is such, as my grandfather would say, it's such a happening driving this car. It is a true piece of motoring joy. And I am just grateful to Porsche and to the channel, and to all of you who make this possible, that I was able to spend the day with this absolute marvel of automotive engineering. So that's it for today. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and our other channel, Transfer Evolve Take 2. And if you can, hit that bell icon to hopefully get some notifications. YouTube's been a little weird about people getting notifications when our videos post, but if you hit the bell, you got a better chance. And if you're not getting notified when our videos post and you've already hit the bell, hit again to unclick it and then turn it back on again. Sometimes that works. Thanks to the entire TE team. Go out to the folk on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreon supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons, Jason Boder, Brian Newton, Michael Goad, David Janikula, Ricky Long, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahada, Brophy Wolf, Tesla Nagong, Joseph Broker, Sean Ueda, Gordon C., Regine Fellows, Anonymous Freak, Jim Durness, Anthony Coates, Kyle Hudson, Laura Sanborn, Roy Litwin, and Denny Hyde. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Joe Bresney, JP Figureback, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnek, Christopher Lee Jones, Paul Conway, Ellery Hensley, and Ian. If you'd like to join the ranks of our wonderful supporters, you'll find links below to Patreon and Bitcoin and Ko-fi. You can also pop on over our Discord server and join the conversation there, or as always, add your comments to the video below. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving.